Think about the most effective leader you've ever had. This is the person that made you better, makes you want to keep getting better. This is the one that makes the team and everybody else around them better. The one you would follow into any situation. You got their back because you know they got your back. This is the one that probably helped you identify your calling, what you're meant to do. Now, think about what it is about that person. What makes them unique? I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say that it's probably not their charisma, not where they are on the organizational chart. It's not that cool corner office they may have. And no, it's probably not that over embellished LinkedIn profile that, let's be honest, we all got it. I got one, you got one, we all have one. Now there's something else that set those individuals apart. Hey, welcome to the Lead Comes After show. My name is Shane Davis, and I don't think leadership is a starting point or an end point. It's actually the result of people mentoring you, you growing, years of development. So what this show is going to do, each episode, we're going to take a quality and we're going to look at that and see how that fits into the leadership puzzle. A, on how you get there. And then B, once you are in a leadership position, how do you leverage and maintain that and keep that? And so you may be asking about the show. Who's this show for? This show is for people that are interested in becoming leaders. It's for people that are currently leading. Maybe you're currently leading nonprofit, ministry, corporate America, all kinds of leadership. This is actually for the person that may not even know that they are a leader. If you have a house, if you have a spouse and a significant other, if you have children, congratulations, you're a leader. You're making decisions. You're leading somebody. You're leading something. May not be a giant organization, but you're leading a household. So this is for everybody across the board. So a little bit about me as well. Again, my name is Shane Davis. I've got 25 years of leadership experience in various roles. I led teams of small as 4 up to over 50 in various situations for nonprofit, corporate America, ministry. So I have a very diverse background in leadership. I've worked for some very effective leaders that really poured into me and mentored me. And I've also learned from some less than desirable leaders as well. You're always going to be learning. And I always say this to people I come in contact with is that you don't get to choose to be an example. And when you're in leadership, or if you're just around your house and your community, you don't choose to get to be an example. Congratulations, you're an example. The only thing you can choose is the type of example you're going to be. Are you going to be a good one? Not so good one. Going to be a great one? It's up to you. So what we're going to do on this show is take a look at the lead comes after equality. And so today we're going to really get this thing started fast. We're going to get this thing started on the foundation that I think all leadership has to be built on. And that is humility. Humility is a quality that I think we've kind of lost some visibility on. If you think about, and if you go on the streets and you poll people, what's a great leader? You may hear charisma. You may hear power, authority, rich, financially well off. You may hear all that, and you may not hear humility. You may not hear that so much because I think over the years, humility has kind of gotten watered down, and it sometimes gets blended in as weakness or your pushover. But that's not further. It can be anything further from that. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There are going to be people that try to test your humility. They will see if you are a pushover, if you are weak. And so you have to be ready to combat that in a loving way, because that's just the world we live in. People are going to push you as a leader to see where that line is they can get to. So, we're going to take a look at this throughout the various episodes. And one thing you'll notice as we go through all these episodes is I'm going to build and base my thoughts and examples on scriptures. I do believe the Holy Bible is the inerrant word of God. And I think if you go and you look at 1,000 books on leadership, whether that's motivation, it doesn't matter. how to become an effective communicator, any of those things. If you look at those and you drill those back, a lot of times they won't mention it, but those track back to the Bible itself. If you don't believe me, try it. Get your favorite leadership book. Go in there and look at the principles. Go to the scriptures. Guarantee if it's an effective principle, it's going to be in the scriptures. So today we're going to stick to that humility thing. And we're going to really look at how being humble fits into being an effective leader. All that has to come before the lead. And so we're going to look at Philippians 2. So right out of the gate, Philippians 2 says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or in vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself. And I'll be honest, there's situations in my career to where I did not do that. I didn't do that. I was very thinking of myself. I had selfish ambitions. What could I get out of this situation? How could I lead this to better myself, not my team? And while it may have worked in the moment, it didn't work long term. And so I love the way the scriptures say that, is that it just comes right up front. It just punches you right in the face. So think about it this way. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. Never think less of yourself. It's not thinking less of yourself. Humility is thinking of yourself less. Don't think about yourself so much. Because if you really look at it, I really look at it myself, we're really not that good. So don't think of yourself less. You could be an effective leader, whether in your home, your community, your church, your office, wherever that may be. But just think of yourself a little less. Put other people ahead of you. So if you don't believe me there was a 2024 study from the Human Resources Network, and they looked at 610 leaders across 18 industries. It's a pretty wide variability. That's a good pool to look into. And one thing that they found, a finding they had, is humble leaders earned higher organizational status and greater promotability. The statistics say it all. Humble leaders get noticed. And it's not the person of self-promotion or through those internal, those informal mentoring. People notice. You may not think they do, but an effective leader will notice others that are leading based on true qualities and humility. Again, I say this because there are exceptions. I've worked for them. You've worked for them. I hope you're not one. Is that you're a leader and you want somebody that can go in and drop the hammer on people. You want to be you're a leader who wants to have somebody reporting to you that can go and drive the team for results no matter what. Be authoritative. If they don't want to do it, then they're not the right person for this job, for this company. There's people like that out there. There's leaders out there like that. And what this survey is saying is that the most successful companies and leaders are not that. You get more, you get more bees with honey than you do vinegar. And so another study. So this was one from 2024. If we want to get in our DeLorean, our time machine, and go all the way back to 2001, Jim Collins, who, if you haven't read any Jim Collins books, he's awesome on leadership. He has wrote a ton of books on leadership. Very high respected individual in leadership. Over a 5-year span, he studied 1,435 Fortune 500 companies. And he was looking for those companies that made the leap from good to great. And he actually found 11 of them. And so he started looking at each one of those companies that made that leap from good to great. And he calls them a level 5 leader. And again, you can look at Jim's books. They're fantastic to go in this, but a level 5 leaders are really those that grow everybody around them. It's really one of the driving purposes behind this format here, is that I want you to go through and understand these qualities so you can become a level 5 leader without even knowing what a level 5 leader is. You go read this book and you start reading those level 5 leadership qualities. And you're like, man, I fit that. People say I fit that. But what he says is that, and I'm going to quote this on his findings. He says, quote, "The good to great leaders never wanted to become larger than life heroes. They were seemingly ordinary people quietly producing extraordinary results." So the great leaders never set out with that as their mindset. They just looked one step ahead, grow others, was very humble, humility, and then eventually over time, people will follow. That's the sign of a good leader. A good leader is people that will follow them without being told they have to follow them. You're on my team under me and you report to me. If I ask you to do something, chances are you're going to feel compelled to do it. But do you want to do it? Leader is somebody, I guess a good way of putting it is a leader is somebody that people will follow voluntarily. So, and again, I look at the scriptures too, and Jesus says this too. I mean, the world says climb, 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 but Jesus knelt first. There's plenty of times where he would get on his knees and he would pray, and we think about it as Jesus is the ultimate role model of a leader. And you'll see that as each episode progresses, you'll see that. And as it turns out, the research agrees. Research agrees exactly with that. So let's get into the meat of this. So we're going to look at 3 points on what it means to be leading from humility. And the first point is something that I hope that you may not have experienced. I know I have, is a humble leader knows what they don't know. Humble leader knows what they don't know. Unfortunately, I've been in that situation to where I've been in positions, giving updates or giving projects updates. And I was asked about something, and internally, I felt that if I said I didn't know, it would look negatively on me. Man, this guy's leading a team and he don't know this. I would make something up. I would say something. And a lot of times it would be wrong. And it's one of those things that it can become a liability. It can hamper us. There's certain things that we have to say, you know what? I'm not really sure. Let me go ask the team. That's a great question. Let me make sure I get you the best answer. Let me go back to the team and let me find that. We all know that person that knows what we don't know. And that's the sign of a good team, is you got teams in pockets that if everybody knew the same thing, followed the same thing, kind of be a very linear team. You want people with different backgrounds, different understandings, different strengths. That way you form the most solid team that can handle any situation. This is where too, being able to say that you don't know something, this is where pride will creep in. This is where pride will start getting in your head, and that little voice in your head, that devil will come inside of you and say, you're leading this team and you don't know that? What kind of leader are you? Make something up. And you get very prideful. I get very prideful. We start talking about that. And again, going to the scriptures, Proverbs 11:2, it says, when pride comes, then comes disgrace. But with humility comes wisdom. And who does not want to be wise? I love being wise. Not always wise, but I like being wise. Wise is a good thing. And pride will shut the door on learning. Humility will open it. Because if you say you don't know something, it gives you something to go to learn. Surround yourself with those people that will help you grow. We've heard it 1,000 times. If you're the smartest person in the room, find a new room. We all got to keep growing. So think about those significant decisions you've had to make in your life in the last couple of weeks. Did you make them without knowing all the facts? Were you too humble? Were you too prideful to go and ask someone on the team? Did it come back to bite you? Or were you humble and say, you know what? I don't know that. Let me go ask the person that does. And then you go from there and it'll grow you. So the second thing is a humble leader gives away the win. This is something that a lot of people are not genuinely comfortable with, especially leaders. I think we see it more and more often. I hope we do. Is that when things work, it's a we. When things don't work, it's a me. I'm leader of the team, so if there's something going on, I'm responsible for that team. If results come in and we accomplish goals, we meet the goals and we meet our baseline, then it's a we. It's actually more of a they. It's more of a they. It's more of a team did this, and it's okay to give that away. Like we mentioned before, remember the humble leaders are the ones that are more promotable, because the leaders up the chain, they see that and they want those leaders like that. So it's okay to give away the win. And you think about it in the scriptures, again, looking at the scriptures, this is a classic example to where Jesus has a large crowd and he's feeding 5,000, over 5,000 people. It says just men, but there's women, children there. So he's feeding thousands and thousands of people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. That's not a lot. That's almost a little short of a Happy Meal is what he's essentially feeding all those people with. And what he does is really neat. Whenever he takes that and he amplifies those 5 loaves and those 2 fish to feed those over 5,000 people, what does he do? He doesn't stand there and sign autographs. He doesn't stand there and take selfies with everybody. He doesn't stand there and get all this acknowledgement. No, I'll read you what it says in John 6:15. In John 6:15, it says, Jesus, knowing that they intended to come and make him a king by force, withdrew again to the mountain by himself. After people saw this, they were like, wow, we need to make this man king. He's the one that's going to take us to prominence. He can do this. And Jesus is like, I'm withdrawing myself. You guys stay here. I'm going away by myself. So it's something that giving away the win in today's culture is hard to do. It's difficult to do, but it needs to be done more often. So think about that next time if you're a leader, or if you're in a marriage. Again, we always say that marriage, you may hear it's here. Marriage is 50-50. It's not. It's 100-100. Each person has to get 100%. But just think about that. Give away the win and see what happens. This is where, like I said before, if your idea works, I'll take the credit. If not, you'll take the blame. Again, been in that situation on both sides. I've seen leaders take credit for things they had no idea about. They stood up and said, well, thank you guys for getting me promoted. Yeah, I actually heard that. And then there's others that in meetings to where pulled the team together and this leader was pounding the table and was pretty much giving everybody down the road because we missed the metrics. Even if you hit 9 out of 10, that 10th one is going to be the one to focus. So just something to keep in mind. The third one is humble leaders are coachable. This is something that a misconception that some of the people that I speak with, and I'm fortunate to speak with, do some executive coaching, leadership, business type coaching. And I do one-on-one coaching, and people tend to think that whenever they reach a certain milestone, they're not coachable. They can't learn anymore. I know people that are in their 65, 70, 75 years old that are constantly wanting to learn. They're teachable. They're in high positions. They say, hey, what can I learn from you? That's humility. When you're able to be coached without feeling less than, that's a sign of humility. And when you're not, when you get that little devil in your ear again coming up, saying you can let these people teach and coach and train you, man, I thought you knew this stuff. I thought you're the leader. You already know this stuff. You should know this stuff. You already know this. That's that whisper of pride. That whisper of pride slowly, if it doesn't get addressed, becomes louder and louder and louder. And before long, it just consumes you. It's like the illustration of the cute little, cool little bear cub. Keep feeding it, keep feeding it, keep feeding it. Before long, that bear cub becomes a giant bear and that brother eats you. That brother will tear you up. So just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. Always be coachable. Coach others and be coachable. Just like in Proverbs 27, it says, as iron sharpens iron, so does one person sharpen another. Again, those blades are cut on both sides. But both sides are getting sharpened. And it's okay to be coachable. There's a lot of leadership development. I'd love to spend some time with you. If that's something that you would like to sit down with, I'd love to sit down with you and talk about it. I think multiple voices before making a decision. That's a way that you're coachable. I may know something, I may feel passionate about it, but I also have blind spots. I could be jaded toward a decision. I have a group of men and group of guys that I bounce my ideas off of, and they a lot of times they'll tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. And you need to surround yourself with those people. If you have a team of yes men, yes women, you're not going to grow. They're not going to grow. And it just come back to bite you. So be coachable, be humble, get multiple decisions, multiple thoughts before making a big key decision. And you certainly will not regret that. So here's a real life example of someone back in history. And when I start talking about this person, you'll immediately know who it is. It's somebody that was born in a log cabin, was really taught to read by firelight, no formal education, failed businesses, lost multiple elections, had a nervous breakdown, openly mocked by the press and political opponents throughout his career. He was basically told, you're nothing. I don't even know why you're still doing this. Look at all these businesses that this failed. Look how many times you've lost these elections. Why do you keep doing this? And here's what one journalist said. Here's a quote from one journalist about this person. Said this person is vain, weak, sterile, hypocritical, without manner, contemptible in every manner, morally and mentally. Now, who was this person? Yeah, you probably got it. It's Abraham Lincoln. It's Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln. So throughout all of those failures and throughout all that time that he essentially lost the elections, he stayed humble. He kept trying. He would get better. He would understand. Do you know somebody like that? Are you like that? You know, one thing I was read through some of the history of Abraham Lincoln, and one thing I love is when he was with one of his generals, and one of his generals made a mistake, and it allowed the opposing army to gain ground. Abraham Lincoln took out a pen and a paper, and he wrote a letter, pretty angry letter, and it was pretty vile. And what the cool part about the whole thing is that they later found that letter in his drawer after he passed away, after he died. He never sent the letter. He conveyed his anger, he conveyed his displeasure in a letter, and he didn't send it. And you know, that's I have to give that advice. Is we are upset, we get emotional, we say things, we do things, later we come back to regret. And one piece of advice I always give, and feel free, you can take this too, because it works almost every time. If you're wronged and you want to post something on Facebook, or if you want to send an email to your leader or to somebody in your organization, that's cool. Go ahead and type it, but don't send it. Sleep on it. Sleep on it. And then read it the next day. I have had so many people tell me afterwards, man, I am so glad I did not hit send on that. I am so glad I did not post that. That saved me. So just take that. And there's plenty of stories about Abraham Lincoln and him doing things like that. So I'd encourage you, go out there and take a look, and just see what you can find. There's a lot of great historical and people that are great role models. So we're coming at the end of our time. But before we close, I want to close with 3 real questions. 3 real questions for us to think about and just sit on until the next time we come together. Number 1, where in your leadership right now is pride coming in as a filter? Where is that pride coming in? Keeping out information, perspectives, feedback that might actually help you. Where is pride seeping in? We all know that. Just take some time, take a step back and see where pride's coming in. Number 2, who on your team has not been seen or credited or elevated recently? And it doesn't cost you anything to send an email. It doesn't cost you anything to call them in and just say, hey, you know what? You're doing a great job. I appreciate everything you did. I appreciate everything you're doing. That goes a long way. As a leader, that will come back to benefit the team, the organization, you, everybody later on, because people don't remember what you say as much as they remember how you made them feel. And if you remember that's big. And again, that could be in your marriage. That could be in your relationship. You know, have you acknowledged your wife lately? Have you acknowledged your spouse lately? Have you acknowledged your husband lately? You know, thank you for leading this family. Man, I appreciate everything you do. compliments never steer you wrong. Those are great. And number 3, what we got is who has permission to sharpen you? Who has permission to cut you and say, you know what? I think we need to take a step back. I know this is what you want to do, but let's take a step back and let's look at it. Who are your council of people that tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear? And if you don't have that, that would be one of the first things I would do. And you know what? It's actually encouraging if you get 2 or 3 people to ask them. It's an honor. It's almost like being like a badge of honor to be able to be in that with somebody and you for them. And again, when you say something like that, when you tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear, you do it in a loving way. Again, that's in the scriptures. We're told do everything out of love. You can be effective and be loving at the same time. Yeah, that's possible. So those 3 things. Where's pride creeping in? Who on your team has not been acknowledged lately? And then who has the permission to sharpen you? Who's your counsel? And we're going to end with James 4:10, where it says, humble yourselves before the Lord and he will lift you up. So like we've talked about before with the statistics, with you see when you're humble, it actually floats you up. Humility is the tide that rises all ships. Think about it that way. All right. So we're going to end this episode right here. We hope you come back. We're going to take a look again. We're going to take a look at some of the other qualities that before you lead. Hence the name of the show. The lead comes after. So you hone in these qualities, help make you a better, effective leader. Love your feedback on it. Also, too, keep an eye out. We're going to have some interviews with some really cool leaders along the way as well. So lead from the right place, and the lead comes after. And again, I'm Shane Davis. Thanks for joining us.